incredible. She was so cool. I basically messaged her on her Instagram saying, I'm here because she commented on one of my posts, or like one of my posts, and she's like, I didn't see you there today. If there's a line, just bypass it. Come say hi. I mean, it was really cool.
That's awesome, man.
And she's very cool and very genuine with her fans and stuff. It was very nice to see it's somebody that sweet, that kind, that genuine.
Yeah.
And let's bring up.
It's my fault, Kevin. It's all on me, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I had a total I guess you would call it like an old person brain freeze. So
well, it's all working out. Let's see. We've got Doreen, we've got Kevin, we've got Dan, we've got a bunch of invisible people, meaning that they're not quite saying hey yet. But as you guys pop in, say hi, let us know who you are, where you're coming in from. There we go. There's Kiwi. There's Anthony. There's Chris. Oh, that's you, Chris.
That's me apologizing to everybody for being late. It's my fault.
All right, so we're about 14 minutes late, so we're going to go right to it. Welcome to tonight's episode of the Three View Mirror, our weekly dose of coming together as Gen X era former 80s kids, where we take about an hour and discuss three different seemingly random topics that are pulled from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, three of the best decades when it comes to pop culture, and three Gen X era decades. Now, the cool thing is one of us plays host every week, and only they know what secret connection is hidden behind their three topics. My name is Gen X John Catrides, and I'm joined here by two of my friends, Shell.
I'm Gen X Shell, and I think we all know that I'm the one that shells it on these episodes all the time. I'm not in charge this week, so we're going to leave that to Chris.
Yeah.
And that brings us to Chris. Chris, you are the host with the most this week. Let's hear it.
I'm Chris Clues. I'm a speaker author. I focus on the lessons for life and work that we can learn from 80s pop culture, do keynotes all over the country. Hopefully I'll be in your city at some point. And it's the holiday season. So if you're looking for a great gift for your friends that love the 80s, my books are available on Amazon. Just type in Chris Clues, my name. My books will come up, and they're actually like heavily discounted by Amazon right now. So jump on it.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, there's ways.
All right.
Right. And this, I have one too.
This is the Three View Mirror. All right, guys, let's get to it.
Yeah, Kevin, I do know that the only ingredient for crab cakes is crab, because I am originally from Maryland like Kevin is. And Kevin gave me some great ideas for a topic, but since we just came back, I'm going to use some of those later because I had one that's been like in my head for a while over the summer. So our three topics tonight are The Karate Kid, Cheers, and 80s TV theme songs. The Karate Kid, Cheers, and 80s TV theme songs.
I'm excited about this one.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
I love the connection. So, yeah.
All right.
Okay. So, do we want to just go right in order there and start with The Karate Kid?
Absolutely.
Okay. So,
what's going on, JTR? How are you?
First thoughts on The Karate Kid. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Wax on, wax off.
so much. Like, I'm worried 15 minutes. I'm going to watch the clock because, I mean, there's the way it was when we saw it. There is the revisiting of it with a new generation of kids that are seeing it through a Cobra Kai lens. Mm-hmm. For me, watching it from that viewpoint back then, it was really cool because I think a lot of 80s kids, more so than our parents, definitely wasn't our parents' thing. A lot of us took karate. Like, it became a very mainstream. There's a karate school in every plaza in Americana. They just started popping up everywhere, whether it was jiu-jitsu or taekwondo. I took Isshinryu. I still remember my katas. it resonated because a lot of us took it. And we grew up on Bruce Lee.
Yeah. And you know, you talk about catchphrases and things in 80s movies that caught on that you took to school with you. And these were definitely one of them. And it was, you know, like somebody had commented on here, show me send the floor. You know what I mean? You know, I don't know. We said those things, you know, I could just remember saying wax on, wax off, paint the fence, you know, and we all did this. We all were like, maybe I could learn karate because I can paint the fence.
And we were all watching Hong Kong Phooey, Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guy. Yeah.
And we all played with nunchucks and throwing stars as children. This, for those listening on a podcast version, I'm holding nunchucks, which were like an 8-year-old's toy back when we were growing up. People talk about darts, but we played with weapons as toys.
Yeah.
Well, girls didn't do throwing stars. I will say that.
I don't think you can say that. I knew some girls that probably did.
But the nunchucks though, we actually like, you know, let me see those, you know, and then you think it because everybody makes it look easy, you know, then you beat yourself in the head with them a couple of times. I mean, it was a thing. It definitely was.
And Lamar, somebody said Lamar was a Cobra Kai from the Tri-Lambs. Absolutely. Lamar from the Tri-Lambs and Revenge of the Nerds was a Cobra Kai. That's a good catch. Yeah.
And you know, in the new in the Cobra Kai, I just have to say this though, I don't know what fountain of youth Ralph Macchio is drinking from, but he looks really good. I mean, how old is he? He's 60, maybe
62.
Yeah, 62 or 63. Yeah.
He looks really good. I really think.
William Zabka just turned 60.
Yes.
Johnny Lawrence, so awesome.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see him get another,
64 for Ralph Macchio. 64.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I was happy.
But that's Gen X. And he's a boomer technically, but I think we can give so that's the other thing. A lot of these characters, people are like, well, they're boomers because they're 64. I go and I have this argument when it comes to Marty from Back to the Future as well, or Ferris Bueller. They'll talk about the actors and say they're boomers. And I'll come back and say, well, I wasn't talking about the actor. I'm talking about the characters. And the characters were Gen Xers. It's okay that the actors were 8 years older than the part they were playing. They were squarely Gen X. And the other thing that I want to make sure I get out before Chris mentions it is 80s fashion, 80s style, totally an 80s thing. Every Karate Kid 1, Karate Kid 2 had a awesome soundtrack. Even if you didn't like the music, it was a huge part of the movie. You couldn't watch the movie without hearing the music, and vice versa.
You're the best around. I love that song.
You're the best
around.
Yeah.
The Glory of Love, of course. I mean, yeah. I mean, it is one of those movies that we talk a lot. Obviously, we talk all about pop culture on here, but we love you too, Benita. But there are some movies and some songs that really just are going to be in pop culture forever. Mm-hmm. And the Karate Kid will always be influential in pop culture. Mr. Miyagi. I mean, that character alone, Pat Morita, who was on, Happy Days, of course, too. But he was that character. He was almost like everybody's protector. You felt as a kid like you wanted a Mr. Miyagi in your life, somebody that could protect you and take care of you and teach you. And there were a lot of kids at that time that were coming, the single family household was becoming a thing, or the single parent household was becoming a thing, and the latchkey kids. And so we talk about being latchkey kids. And Mr. Miyagi took Daniel under his wing when he needed that, father figure to come in and kind of guide him, more than just protecting himself, but also teaching him about life. And so I think that carries through as well.
And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I seem to recall this, that Pat Morita was so very American that he actually had to give himself an Asian accent in the show or movie, in order to be able to play the part of the
he affected a similar accent throughout Happy Days when he was Arnold. But I remember seeing him off Happy Days, off Karate Kid, for the first time, probably no more than 5 or 6 years ago. He's a California native, and hearing him speak with his normal voice, I was blown away. I thought he had an accent for real, because it was very rare. He didn't break character often, and I don't know that I ever saw him out of character very often. So I thought that was really his accent. A is a Florida man's talking about Peter Cetera's Glory of Love as well. That was a huge one. That was from Karate Kid 2. It's just, it resonates. And I was talking to a kid at one of the Comic-Cons I went to, and we were talking about music. And I said, the difference today is, yeah, there may be a snippet of a song in a movie you watch, but it's not, we played almost the entire song. There'll be a montage behind it, right? Remember the 80s movie montages, Daniel practicing, or, you know, the love story montage, and the music plays all the way through it. Absolutely a huge part of the movie.
Yeah.
Glory of Love, I gotta say, is what, do you remember when you used to be able to go to the mall and they did like the thing where you could tape record yourself singing? It was the early versions of karaoke kind of a thing, and you got the little tape. Glory of Love was like one of the first songs I ever did to that. And if I still had that tape somewhere, I would totally play it for you guys, but I'm thankful, literally thankful that I don't.
I did Why Can't This Be Love, Van Halen, and I'm so glad that tape is gone. My God. Freaking awful.
I did. It was from Dirty Dancing.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I don't remember do you know the song?
She's Like the Wind?
Jennifer Warren and I can't remember the song, but it's that one. The other thing about Karate Kid is we talk about it all the time. 80s movies gave us the script we wanted. It gave us the ending we wanted. It didn't try to teach us a lesson. The writers didn't try to be smarter than their audience. They didn't try to lean artistically in a different direction. They gave us the story we wanted, where the protagonist is met, he struggles, he meets with opposition, he struggles beating that opposition, and at the end he's the best, and we see him lifting the trophy over his head. That's an 80s movie. The only thing missing was a slow clap. Otherwise it's textbook formulaic, and you know what, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it being formulaic. I love it.
You know, one of the things that in modern television, like on Netflix, that I've actually enjoyed, because I grew up on those formulaic, we all did, on those formulaic movies and TV shows, with the happy endings most of the time, is now we started to see shows where they don't, like, the main characters die off and such. And that has been one of the things that I've actually enjoyed about TV nowadays. That's just a little side shoot, but
well,
anyway.
Nobody's safe nowadays. Yeah. But I think part of that too is like we talk a lot about 80s movies, and when I go out and speak, and I have, of course, Gen X people come up to me, but I have a lot of people in their 20s come up to me as well. And I think what they often tell me is the storytelling is what they really enjoyed about 80s movies. They were telling great stories. They couldn't hide behind CGI. They couldn't hide behind, hey, we're not going to tell you, but a main character might get killed off to keep you interested. They could actually just tell these great stories. We had great storytellers. It's kind of like the music. In the 60s and 70s, you had these great storytellers like Bob Dylan and CCR. And then, of course, it went to like Elton John and Billy Joel. And they were telling you stories, Jim Croce, Harry Chapin. And I think we've lost some of that. And that's why the Karate Kid, as much as they want to keep remaking it, Cobra Kai aside, which was the perfect way to do it. But these remakes with like Will Smith's kid and the Karate, come on, man, stop it. Like just the original Karate Kid. And even
I haven't seen the most recent adaptation with, did you see the one that just came out?
No,
Where Ralph Macchio's in it again. I just haven't seen it. Jackie Chan?
Yeah, Legends. I didn't see it, no. But the original trilogy,
you know, and Mike says happy endings. They didn't necessarily need to always have a happy ending, but it was the ending that made sense. They didn't try. The 90s took that and threw it on its head, right? The 90s gave us Sixth Sense and a lot of movies that all of a sudden you went from these formulaic 80s movies, and then the 90s and the early 2000s kind of flipped it, and all of a sudden you didn't know what was going to happen next. I didn't see the twist coming. And both are okay.
Yeah.
Lost Boys has an awesome soundtrack. Dude, we can go movie to movie to movie. Soundtracks are, and the reason the soundtrack's easy to bring up today is you also mentioned TV theme songs, which, still plays into music.
Yeah, we'll get to those. We'll definitely get to those. And we got like a couple more minutes with the Karate Kid.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Of course, I want to thank whoever discovered Elizabeth Shue. My 14-year-old self would like to thank them very much because she was awesome. And yeah, that's another one. When they in Cobra Kai, Elizabeth Shue came on the camera. I'm like, is she a vampire? Because she looks amazing. And they all are in their 50s and 60s. I mean, they were a few years older than most of us when we went to see them in the theater.
Have you seen them in person in any of your travels?
No, I haven't seen.
Okay, so there was one, maybe it was MegaCon Orlando that I was at. One of them had a Cobra Kai panel, and they did Cobra Kai and Karate Kid. Elizabeth Shue was there. They were all there. They all look incredible, like in person. It's not just Hollywood magic. They all look amazing.
Yeah,
and they're all nice, and they're all smiling, and they all seem happy. I didn't go home with them, but it's just nice. They seem to like one another. I like that.
Well, I think Cobra Kai just really, a lot of them had either been left behind by Hollywood for whatever reason, or maybe they had just stepped away. And Cobra Kai gave them a chance to make a significant comeback, not just a little one, but it wouldn't shock me one bit if we don't see William Zabka doing a lot more. And he got typecast in the 80s as like the preppy villain bad guy, like the kind of good looking villain preppy bad guy. He was in Back to School, just one of the guys, I think, and Karate Kid.
Yeah, he was
the same guy. And he got typecast. And then when that thing was over, to your point, that formulaic thing was over, unfortunately, he got left behind. And he's awesome.
I was giving Shell a minute. After you had this look on your face like, I've got something to say and these boys aren't letting me budge in. So you're like, fine, I'll wait. But no?
No, I'm good. I'm absorbing it. I'm absorbing. I actually was remembering things about the movie itself, running things through my head. And then I was looking at the comments and I was thinking about the people that said the new ones were good or so on. There's some part of me that doesn't, we've talked about this before, that doesn't want to go back and watch some of the newer remakes of movies like Roadhouse. We talked about that last week. It's almost like I don't want to ruin the memory, because the memory of watching Karate Kid is very precious to me. I loved it. And it brought back good memories. I don't want to go back and ruin that. I don't want to replace that with something new and modern. I like my old comfy blankie of the original Karate Kid.
Your Whoopi?
My Whoopi.
Your Whoopi. It was also one of those movies we could watch more than once and cheer it on every single time. We're still cheering at the end. It's a feel-good, cheer it on movie. Yes, some people say, and I've seen it in the comments too, that maybe Ralph Macchio, maybe Daniel San wasn't as innocent in it all as we originally assumed. He's kind of making a play as the new kid at school to Billy Zabka's, girlfriend. They just broke up, and he's sliding right in there. Johnny's in the bathroom minding his own business, and here comes Daniel putting the hose over, provoking him. I mean, I guess I see that.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely people have brought that up, and it would be a great question to ask them in one of those panels. If they do another panel, somebody could ask that, like, hey, looking back, do you think that maybe Daniel, not that he deserved to be jumped by 7 guys, but he and Johnny Lawrence to kind of have it out, like one-on-one, like we used to do.
It got asked, and the answer is that they go to cast, they go to their parts. And Ralph Macchio is like, absolutely not, I'm the hero. And Johnny says, absolutely, 100%, he was the villain. And that's the way they play it. They go back to their parts on each of them. How about the moment where Pat Morita comes down over the fence, though, where you have to suspend your disbelief for just a minute? Because I'm sorry, man. He's doing Tai Chi, and he takes out 7 kids. He's barely moving, and he takes them down.
Well, when you're ninja-like, you can do that.
Yes.
But I want to bring up one more thing about you mentioned, before we kind of maybe hit another topic here in a minute, that you said about cheering. And so the thing I remember about the Karate Kid is that back in the day, like at some of these movies, at the end, everybody cheered in the theater.
Yeah.
People were clapping, cheering, and they were so fired up. And the only movie that I've been to I can't remember how long, where people cheered at the end was Top Gun Maverick recently.
Yeah.
Like the entire
another
theater
80s movie
cheering at the end. And that was what we were missing. Like the Rocky movies, people cheered at the end, Karate Kid. And I think that's like when you talk about Shell, like I'm afraid to kind of watch it again because I have the experience in my head and I can't replicate it. And it's the same thing for me. Like I remember everybody stood up and was cheering and clapping in a theater. That's insane to think. And it's awesome.
Even though you knew based on the formula that he was going to win, that he was going to pull this out.
Yeah.
And they leaned into the formula. So it's this in the first one. It's this in the second one. You know, there's always that. Here goes the movie didn't really know much about is going to be the move that saves him. You know, and everybody in the audience in Karate Kid 2 is playing that little drum thing, and it's like now he knows what to do and how to win, and we didn't care. We didn't overthink it. We just let ourselves enjoy it. It's okay. I'm not going to overthink it. It's formulaic. It's leaning into tropes. It's cliche. I don't care. It's all those things, unapologetically all those things, and I love it anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's awesome.
Now, before we move on, Joe makes the point. Pat Morita was born in 1932, so he was 52 years old back in 1984. I'm 3 years older than Miyagi.
I'm the same age as Miyagi.
I'm 3 years older than Miyagi, too. Yep.
And Daniel is now 12 years older than Miyagi.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We'll revisit this. We're not done. I'm a comic book geek. For all you comic book geeks, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention at the end of the credits on Karate Kid, there's always a little disclaimer that said Karate Kid is owned and used with permission from DC Comics because he's actually a superhero. There's a superhero whose name was Karate Kid. He was in the Legion of Superheroes.
I didn't know
that. Did not know that.
Wow. Okay.
Did not know that.
Damn. That's pretty cool. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Next topic. Cheers. The TV show Cheers. We talk a lot on this show about the sitcoms and how it kind of disappeared. But back in the 80s and in the 70s too, there were multiple sitcoms at the same time, all doing very, very well. There was a huge audience for sitcoms. Most networks built their biggest nights around 3 or 4 sitcoms, 8, 8:30, 9, 9:30. And of course, Cheers being one of, I think, the greatest sitcoms of all time, most certainly in the 80s, but one of the greatest of all time.
As soon as you heard, you just knew it was time for Cheers, you know, and then you just started singing the song, you know, sometimes you want to go, you know, and I think even the show broke the mold, even in the theme song that it had at the time, because it was soft. There wasn't anything. Usually they played scenes. If you remember from all the 80s things, they played these little scenes of the mother, you know, doing the, you know, things like that. And, you know, it broke that mold too. And the other mold I think that Cheers broke was it was a literal, other than every once in a while we'd see someone's apartment, it was literally right there. That was it. Yeah. It was in the bar. Yeah. There was no other scenery. You got to see the front of the bar. You got to see the side of the bar. It was the bar. And that was the whole entire show. And I think that was, that mold breaking was one of the things that made it so amazing.
I think Coach was also 52.
No.
Woody is like 14. Well, yeah, he was young. He passed away fairly young. Woody is much older now than Coach was when they had it. But I mean, so real quick, we'll bring in our virtually live studio audience on these real quickly. Woody or Coach?
Oh, good question.
I loved them both, but I would have to say Woody. Mm-hmm. Doreen says you never saw Upstairs. Actually, we did see Melville's on occasion.
Yeah.
So I would say Woody.
I'm a Woody because I loved his Coach had that older dumb stupidity kind of play acting, but Woody's was somehow I don't know, funnier because it was misplaced in his good looks and in his charm. His that's what made it, I think, better. Like, having a airheady older guy didn't play the same as having an airhead young good looking guy. And for me, it was always Woody.
Chris?
I think also we were younger, so not that we could relate to somebody who was 28 like Woody, but certainly more so than Coach. And also I think Woody, wasn't he on substantial? I mean, Coach was just the first couple seasons right before he passed away.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But immediately I saw it as an upgrade, and I'll pivot and say the same thing, and this is probably going to get me in trouble, but I immediately thought it was an upgrade when we went from Diane to Rebecca. I did not find Diane's character likable. I didn't think she was funny. I didn't want her and Sam together. But I thought Rebecca, Kirstie Alley was, in my book, better comedic timing. I thought she was hilarious.
Well, they had better chemistry, for sure. You could tell the chemistry on camera was much better with the two of them. And then you had just the staples that you had. I mean, listen, very few TV shows can spin off a show about one of the characters, not even the main character, and have that show be as good or close to as good, depending on what the humor you liked with Frasier. And then John Ratzenberger, who played Cliff, of course, is now I think he is number 5 on the list of actors and actresses with the largest box office ever.
Because of his Disney voice acting. He's an amazing, you hear his voice and you just know it's Cliff, but he plays these little cartoon characters so perfectly. And you're like, how did he bridge that gap? I love him. I love him.
Yeah.
The other thing that Cheers did so well, and we talk about pop culture, is it went from being, Seinfeld did it. First of all, NBC nailed it with their Thursday night lineup. They owned must-see TV Thursday nights for years, building off of The Cosby Show to Cheers, from Cheers to Seinfeld, from Seinfeld to Friends. Even their second-tier shows, Wings, Mad About You, held up.
Sorry, look at Record House.
I saw you laughing.
Pixar, not Disney. Pixar. Yeah, that's one of my favorite. Yeah. Norm was great.
Can't believe he's gone.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, I mean, they just somebody mentioned earlier that it was a comfort show. I think it was Benita that mentioned it's a comfort show. And that theme song where everybody knows your name. I mean, we talk a lot about how pretty much every topic we talk about has a connection to the show Friends. And of course, there was the one where they're in England and Joey is homesick and he's talking to Phoebe, who's ordered the Joey special, which is 2 pizzas. And he starts, Cheers comes on where everybody knows your name and he's feeling homesick. So even then it's and I can tell you when I used to travel internationally for work, I would always for a while, Friends was on Netflix. And that was one of the things that I could do in my hotel room. And I was feeling God, I want to be back in the US and I've been somewhere for 3 weeks. It really was that kind of thing to help me feel like I needed to I felt a connection to home. And that song was always going in my head where everybody knows your name.
Mm-hmm. And Lilith. I think Lilith was a very underrated character. I absolutely loved Lilith's dry, no nonsense kind of humor. And nobody mentioned her. We've mentioned Rebecca, we've mentioned Frasier, we mentioned the others. I loved her. Oh,
and she was hot.
Yeah,
she was very attractive. When all of a sudden they would do the trope of her taking her hair out of her bun and shaking out her hair, she was attractive. Yeah. I was looking at special guest stars from Cheers, and I'd forgotten the amount of people that had come through that bar. It's incredible. Talk about pop culture. It's a who's who. I don't know a show that can do that today. Not to that level. I mean, I was going to read names. I'm like, where do I stop? But it was hilarious. Emma Thompson was one of the guest stars, and it made me think of when you talked about Lilith, when Nanny McPhee, Frasier's first wife, is singing to Frasier and coming on to him, and he doesn't see it. Every episode, there were so many amazing episodes. The Gary's Old Town Tavern rivalry, I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, and they all of the characters, even if they just had a couple of lines, you were just mentioning somebody mentioned Carla, like they were all awesome. Every character had their moments. Every character mattered in the kind of tapestry of the entire cast, even if they weren't. I mean, we haven't even talked about Sam Malone. I mean, the guy, Ted Danson.
Right.
You know,
Right.
we've been talking about all these other characters because they were all so good, and we haven't even talked about the guy the show was about, which was Sam Malone, and how good he was, and how now, like, my thing, like we talked about Cobra Kai earlier, Cobra Kai landed the ending. It was a 10. And so many times we get invested in these shows, and the ending, the last show sucks. Cheers nailed it too. When he's turning out the lights of the bar and somebody knocks on the door and he says, "Sorry, we're closed," and that it gives me chills because
I just was thinking the same thing.
10 years of that show being in your home every Thursday night. Sorry, we're closed, and the lights go out, and there's nobody in there. Man, it makes it's so.
What that ending did for me, that was perfect. We meant you started saying how Sam Malone's the guy. And I'm like, yeah, man, how could we not talk about the main character in Cheers? But then I started thinking he wasn't the main character. The ending showed us that Norm put it perfectly. Norm gives this master soliloquy at the end where he's like, decides to stay for a minute and just talks to Sam and talks about the bar. The bar is the main character of the show, and that's why all the ancillary characters work well. I grew up in bars. My parents owned a bar. My brother owned a bar. I bartended from 16. That show was so well done. If you spend any amount of times as a bartender or as a regular in a bar, because regulars are a thing, they're there every day. It's a thing. And they nailed it.
Yep. And I had heard, how you hear these internet rumors of what the TV shows actually were. I once heard, I don't know if you guys ever heard this, about how Cheers was nothing more than a dream, actually, that it never actually happened. Did you ever hear that one?
Mm-mm.
Where it was all in Sam Malone's mind, that it was all a dream in the first place that was playing out in his mind. And that's why the scenes didn't change much. That's why it was always in one place. That's why the characters were, very recurring characters with very set in their ways. It was all in his mind. I heard that. Yeah.
Kind of like a St. Elsewhere kind of thing.
Well, Newhart was a dream. The
Newhart
show actually was a legit dream.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I just, it's one of those things we've talked about this a lot as well. And wherever you watched TV as a kid, and knowing that you had to be in front of the TV when that show came on, and it takes me back to that shag carpet with the wood paneling and the TV that you had to get up and change the channel. But I feel this comfort when I think about shows like that. And it reminds me that it was a long time ago, but that I feel very fortunate and thankful to have grown up in the time that I did, because I can look back and feel romantic about that idea of only getting things when you have to be there to get them. They aren't on demand. They're not in front of you all the time. They're not at your fingertips. You can't just say in the remote control, "I want this show." You had to be there at that moment or you missed it. And I'm sitting Indian style right now in front of my TV watching Cheers. Like, I can remember doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey,
For me, Cheers was at the bar. We watched it at the bar.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk over top of you, John. I like what Life said. He said, "You guys need a show." Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
I cannot say enough how much that really resonated for people that went out and went to bars and stuff. It was a stroke of genius. Do you have a favorite story arc or a specific Cheers moment that resonates? For me, it's when Rebecca burned down Sam's bar. That it was just her comedic timing and her uselessness, and how just she went from being this pinnacle of management. By the time Cheers was done with her, she was such a mess, and I loved it. But that's probably one of my favorite episodes, is when she burns the bar down.
I think mine is when somebody mentioned earlier, the Thanksgiving food fight.
Okay.
I don't know if I have a favorite episode. I had favorite things that got said, or like I would repeat something Carla said, or I would repeat something that maybe Lilith or Norm said, like the doggy milk bone underwear. Like I had moments that I would repeat, just like we would repeat the things from the Karate Kid. But I didn't really. I watched every episode. I cannot not say that I haven't seen every single episode of Cheers. And that's a rarity because there's only a few shows that I can honestly say if it came on, I'd be like, yep, saw every episode.
It's funny. There were a couple of things built into the premise of Cheers, into the writing. First of all, it was said very early on, you'll never see Norm's wife. So we never get to see Vera. No matter what, people come in and out. It was a hard and fast rule that you would never see Vera. If you like the finale, one of my favorite moments, and I know I've talked about it before, is Sam goes and adjusts the painting of, I think it's Tecumseh on the wall, the Native American. That was the actor who played Coach. That was his. So that was a nod to Coach. That's why he did that.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
I was actually going to mention that earlier when we were talking about Coach versus Woody, about that painting on the wall.
And I think that was one of his, like his. It wasn't the characters; it was the actors painting. It wasn't the characters painting.
No, it was the actors painting.
Yeah.
Nicholas, I can't remember his last name.
And I mean, that's, this is the thing about the 80s, and the 70s too. I mean, we could make this list of incredible sitcoms. And you just think about, we talked about All in the Family and the Jeffersons and Sanford and Son. And then you get into the 80s and you have Cheers and you have, the beginning of course, of Seinfeld, and you have Different Strokes, which I guess is kind of a sitcom. But we could talk about sitcoms. I'm missing probably 50 of them that we could talk about. MASH and Mary Tyler Moore and on and on and on. And it's just, that was just a golden age of sitcoms. We'll never see it again, just because of the disbursement of content now, and also the difficulty in making comedy because people get upset.
Well, and everything is curated for people now. We all get playlists, whether it's music or movies or television shows. These artificial intelligent created algorithms keep feeding us stuff that we tell it we like, or conversely, that it wants us to like. Whereas before, we were exposed to things we may not necessarily have thought we would like it, but we learned to either accept it, find something good in it, or shockingly enough, learn to love something we probably wouldn't have watched if we had other options.
Yeah.
Right, because mom and dad were sitting down watching it. There was one console TV, and like you said, you were sitting down crisscross applesauce on the floor, and that was it. And those were no other choices. There weren't video games. You weren't getting on the phone or anything. You watched what they watched. And so sometimes we got into shows that we didn't necessarily, like John said, wouldn't have exposed ourselves to, like, I don't want to watch that. Well, you didn't really. For us, we had 2, 4, and 11. Those were our TV channels. Like, that was it. And of course, we had UHF, but nobody watched that. So
I saw Kevin just said he hated Seinfeld, basically, not in so many words. I loved Seinfeld. I love Friends. But whenever I talk about those two shows specifically, there'll be a lot of hate coming from the sides. People will love saying, I hated Friends. I never understood why anybody liked it. People say they hated Seinfeld. I loved Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, you get that too. I think that's the thing. Like when sitcoms, somebody mentioned earlier that what Cheers was really good at was just everyday life inside of a bar. And everyday people having everyday conversations. And then sitcoms started to, they were characters that you didn't know or that you would never run across. And so it became different. Oh, that's cool. The YouTube algorithm sent me to this live stream. That's so great.
I like that, Joe.
Glad you're here, Joe. So I think, like, wrapping up on Cheers, is there anything else that you want to talk about with Cheers before we move on to the final topic?
It's got to come back because I don't think I'm done. There's so much. It is an iconic moment in time. And I will say I do a live Tuesday night trivia where I'm actually in front of a crowd. And I'll every now and then part of the trivia will be theme songs. And even though I'm like, no clues, you can't sing along because it's just instrumental, they all start singing when that Cheers song comes on. There's no doubt about it. They have to.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of the Cheers song, The final topic is 80s TV theme songs. And specifically made it 80s because of, I'll just give you a hint, because of the connection, but 80s TV theme songs. And also because I think that was, we talk about the golden era of all of these great theme songs. And many of them actually hit the top 40. Some of them went to the top 5. I mean, I think of right off the bat, we were mentioning Seinfeld. I think of The Greatest American Hero. I love I love that theme song. That is like probably my favorite theme song of all time.
Absolutely. I'm
walking on air. I mean, it is, and I think it charted like in the top 5, I'm pretty sure.
It did. It did. And I mean, you know, I would say again, like our show, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, because I can go to Good Times, I could go to the Jeffersons. There was a lot of great 70s theme songs. 90s, the Friends, that made it onto the top. But the 80s are the 80s. I mean, it is what it is. But topping it off for me would still be Cheers. I loved Greatest American Hero, don't get me wrong. But when they hit that crescendo of you want to go where everybody, for me, that's everything.
Somebody mentioned Miami Vice. I mean, my God. Great theme.
You could still hear that today, and like you could go exercise to that. Like it's still you still get that like vibe going on with that. Oh, Fall Guy, yeah, it was a good one.
How about different strokes? It takes different strokes to move the world. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Different strokes.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them all. There you have the life. There's Maureen.
That's right. Yeah, and then.
Give Me a Break, You Sure. Nell Carter. That was iconic.
Yeah. I forgot about that show.
Great show. Growing Pains. Family Ties.
Somebody mentioned over here, Magnum
PI.
Helicopter like coming in. TC's helicopter flying in. Yeah, I mean,
A-Team.
The A-Team.
Somebody mentioned A-Team earlier, and like that was still iconic.
When they're driving,
but today they don't do it anymore. Shows don't start anymore. 8 o'clock, and all of a sudden it's the opening scene of the show, and maybe they'll have credits as the actors are talking. And part of that is because the few shows that stream that have an intro, there's always that skip the intro button, and people skip it.
Yeah.
So why bother? Why bother? Golden Girls, good one. Knight Rider, good one.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Full House.
Yeah.
The Dukes of Hazzard.
Everywhere.
Dukes of Hazzard was awesome. Just the good old boys. Even Chips, which went into the 80s. Hawaii 5-0.
Oh, yeah.
Also might have come into
the 70s.
That 70s and then later 2000s, but still iconic for me. That hard dum 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 dum.
But I think there was so many reruns on from the 70s that went into the 80s that for me they're an 80s show. Like Chips to me was an 80s show because I absolutely adored watching Chips. It was one of my favorite things.
I could not agree with you more. If you watched it in the 80s, it was an 80s show. It didn't matter. Yeah. That's when you saw it. Wonder Woman just turned 50. That show just turned 50 2 days ago. Celebrating the 50th anniversary. Three's Company, come and knock on our door.
Come and knock on our door. Wait a minute, because I think I'm older than Mrs. Roper.
I'm older than Mr. Roper.
I don't know how old was Mrs. Roper.
I don't know. He was 54.
All right, how old? I'm gonna look it up.
All the nighttime soap operas as well. People keep mentioning like Dallas and Falcon Crest.
Dynasty, Falcon Crest. They were actually amazing pieces of music. I mean, they were musical scores. Alice, for sure.
Was SWAT
Early to Bed, Early to Rise.
Was SWAT
again started in the 70s, moved into the 80s.
Okay, SWAT, 70s and 80s, okay.
All right,
SWAT was great. That was another hard pounding one.
Yeah.
Here, you'll like this one. When Three's Company began, which I didn't realize this because to me, Three's Company is definitely an 80s show, right?
Right. Well, 70s and 80s.
It started in 77, which I didn't really realize. For me, it was always an 80s show. But Mrs. Roper was, drum roll please, 46.
Oh my God.
Fuck my
46.
life.
46. Okay, so listen, I don't know when the show, how long? 50.
Probably went to 83.
just found out she 53. Mrs.
Oh.
No, 46. She was 46. So if it went on for like 6 years, I don't know how long.
Yeah, but
the
they
show
were
was-
gone. They left after season 2. The third
Oh,
season
that's
they weren't
right.
in it
That's
anymore.
right. Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, you can ask the same question: who's better, the Ropers or Mr. Furley?
Oh, BJ.
Well,
Oh my
I
god.
like the Ropers.
I like Mr. Furley.
I like Mr.
People's
Furley.
Court. We can hate Bill Cosby. Can we still recognize? Yeah, listen, I talk about the Cosby Show. I talk about the music and the opening. Personally, I talk about Picture Pages and Fat Albert. Those things still have a lot of meaning and purpose and value for me. Just because we found out he was a scumbag doesn't ruin that for me.
Which one?
People are like, we bring up the Cosby Show, or are we not allowed to talk about
Oh
it?
yeah, of course. Yeah, we bring it up. That's the thing about pop culture is if you're gonna judge pop culture on the
Merits.
the criminal records of people and the things that they've done, we would be consuming a lot less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can separate the person, if we want to call him that, from the show. And all the other people that participated in it, by the way. How about Unsolved Mysteries?
Dude. As soon as I hear it, the hair.
The Unsolved Mysteries theme, like I can hear it now, and it's so freaky. It's like such a freaky
Or
theme.
even as short as, I think Law and Order might have actually started in the 80s. I think it's been on TV that long. That dunk dunk. That's all I got to hear.
Yeah.
Reading Rainbow. As much as I love Reading Rainbow, 3, 2, 1. Do you guys remember 3, 2, 1 Contact?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I loved that
Yes.
theme song.
Oh, Obladi, Oblada, life goes on. Was that 80s?
That was
that 80s?
80s going into 90s. Step by step. Dude, every sitcom had an amazing intro to Shell's point from earlier where they turn around like, oh, I didn't see you there kind of thing, and smile as their name comes across and the music is playing. They're coming out of the refrigerator. It's like, oh, hi. We had to do one of those. We had to do a promo using that.
We should do a promo like that.
Hill Street Blues for sure.
Huh?
X-Files.
Oh, Hill Street Blues. Yes.
That's a great one.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was almost like a given. Like that was a huge part of television were the theme songs. And there was a huge industry in it. Somebody mentioned Mike Post earlier because I think he did Hill Street Blues. He did Magnum PI, Rockford Files, and probably a few others as well. Like there were people who made a legit living out of making these television theme songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were bands who's, to John's point, I mean, going into the 90s with the Friends hit, the Rembrandts, that was their only hit. But my God, I bet you they have $10 million houses from it. I mean, because it just the royalties and the amount of money that you keep making from that theme song. So Emergency Adam 12, my God.
Without a doubt, JTR. I mean, I can hear the Price is Right music playing in my head. Joker's Wild.
Yeah.
Sale of the Century.
Yep.
Oh, I loved Sale of the Century.
I did too because they had models in bikinis whenever they would give away the hot tub.
It reminds me of the old days when on Wheel. This is totally off topic.
Yes,
The old days
yes.
on Wheel of Fortune when the
I know
people
what you're gonna
would pick
say.
their prizes, and you were like, "Oh no, pick that! Oh, you're so stupid! Why'd you pick that?"
Yeah, Alan Thicke wrote a lot of them. Think season 2, Alan Thicke might have sung the Growing Pains song.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
I think so.
Huh.
I
And
could
then-
be wrong.
Didn't the
I know that the guy that played David sang the 8 is Enough song.
what was
The oldest son sang it.
wasn't there a theme song for the No Whammies?
Press your luck.
Press your luck.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was such a great time. We talk a lot about the 80s music on this show. Bosom Buddies. Somebody mentioned
No, that was Billy Joel. Life brings up Saturday morning television. All the cartoons had theme songs.
Yeah.
Kong Kong Fooey, number one super guy. You said it earlier.
Yeah.
So I can't believe somebody besides me remembers Bigfoot and Wild Boy. That was a Croft Super show. That was part of the Croft Super Hour. I just saw Sid Croft, 96 years old. I spent some time talking with him this weekend. The guy's amazing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Sid Croft, the Laugh Olympics. That was my favorite. So, I mean, we talk a lot about 80s music on the show because of what we do, but also because this is the thing, the diversity in the music that was popular. There was something for everybody. And then, of course, you know, we talk about the movie soundtracks, but the television theme songs. I mean, you ask, if you play Miami Vice, if you just play the first 4 chords, people know exactly what it was. So,
Land of the Lost. I've Wesley sang it for us. I've got a video of Wes singing it. What's that?
Down in Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
Take your cares away.
It's time to make the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to get things started on the Muppet Show tonight.
Love the Muppet Show. That was one of my favorite things in the whole entire world.
Mana. That's my ringtone. Mana. Yeah. So okay, so we spent 15 minutes on TV theme songs. So
we could go on and on with this one. I mean, I know the audience could too, because seriously, there's so many. They're singing them right now. You know that.
All the people I am.
I've got the theme. I've got that whole picture of them in the black Maserati during Miami Vice now because somebody mentioned it, and I'm like,
good one, Kevin.
Mentioned. I'm like, man, that was so cool. They were so cool. I wanted to be those guys so bad. Mm-hmm. I even probably had like a pastel suit, I'm sure, and there's a picture somewhere. All right, so the 3 topics tonight, they all have a connection. For those of you that are new here for the 3 View Mirror podcast, we went through 3 topics. They all connect. There's one connection. One big connection. You may find some smaller ones, but there's one big connection between these 3 topics: The Karate Kid, Cheers, and 80s TV theme songs.
I know this had something to do. Okay, for those of you that are also just joining us, Chris's connections almost always have something to do with music, because he is a music guru, loves everything about music, and knows all of the deep connections with music. So there's that. Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, the Hulk. I remember that theme. And somebody else said Charles in Charge. Now I'm hearing that in my head. Kevin's saying Journey. Kevin, you are the king of just throwing one-word answers out. What's the name? Journey. Why? I don't know.
Calvin Klein.
JTR coming in with Calvin Klein. So if you're also new to the show, you may see references to Shelling It, to Calvin Klein's underwear, to an infatuation with Bette Midler and or beaches, among many, many other things. Chris's inability to properly curve a brim on his hat, although I got to give you props today, dude. You're looking pretty good today.
Oh, yeah, this is a brewery I went to in Indiana, so. What are you laughing at?
Comment.
I dress up like Dan Johnson on the weekends.
The connection is the band Chicago.
No, but a good guess.
Give it a shot. I don't know. I'm struggling.
See, like I was thinking it had something to do with the theme song for Cheers because it was so iconic, or maybe a guest star.
We had a topic that was theme song, so that's what threw me off.
Yeah, but I don't know who wrote that or who's behind that. And maybe it has something to do with that, and that they also wrote for Karate Kid, and then were responsible.
Jebediah says serious porn for mental masturbation. So Jebediah, if you're new to the show, that's what we do every week. We'll talk about 3 topics, and there is something is tying all 3 of these. Kevin says, is it Bruce Lee? I don't think Bruce Lee. So I'm guessing your thought process is on the theme song. I'm guessing there were so many different people that walked through the door of Cheers that had something to do with it. So someone who's a guest star, let's say Alan Thicke happened to be on Cheers. He sang a theme song to Growing Pains. And if he had a connection to Karate Kid, which I don't know, but that's where my mind's trying to go.
You're definitely getting closer.
That's where I'm like, who were guest stars? Johnny Carson was. I was trying to think who's in. I can't get Pat Morita. Yeah, it's Pat Morita is what a Florida man's saying, but I don't think he sang a theme song. That's where I'm trying to think of the guests.
During the theme song conversation, I threw out the answer.
I kind of thought you did. Now I forget what you said because you said, no, you said something that was like, just, I don't know, didn't fit in. I wish I could go back and replay it in my mind, but I don't remember what it was now. I should have been paying attention.
You got me, Chris.
Anybody? All right. So Pat Morita is part of the connection.
Okay.
The answer is Magnum PI because Pat Morita was a guest star on Magnum PI. So was Sato, who played Danny Kamikono, who played Sato in Karate Kid 2. But also Cheers, Ted Danson and John Ratzenberger were also guest stars on Magnum PI. And then 80s TV theme songs, Magnum PI is like right on top of it. So you've got 2 Karate Kid actors, one big one, Mr. Miyagi. You've got 2 actors from Cheers. They were all guest stars on Magnum PI.
And it had an iconic theme song.
And it had an iconic theme
from
song.
the 80s.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, that's me. Because somebody got it. Oh, no, I typed that.
And if you look at the list of guest stars for Magnum PI, it reads like the list of the ones from Cheers. I mean, you got Frank Sinatra, Carol Burnett, Ernest Borgnine, Cesar Romero. I mean, the list goes on and on. I think there was like, I had a list earlier and I can't find it now. There's like 200 guest stars, musicians, and Johnny Cash and I think Johnny Cash and I want to say Prince was on there, but I could be wrong.
Like the Love Boat. Like it was just an endless train of like people that were, yeah. Yep.
So I listen, I'm a huge Magnum PI guy. I wanted to be Magnum so badly. And I thought he was like so cool, and I love the theme song, and I love the story about how they were looking at Tom Selleck to be Indiana Jones, and he couldn't do it because of Magnum PI, and then it ends up being Harrison Ford, and everything kind of works out for everybody because he was only in like the second season of Magnum. So it kind of worked out that, you can't see Magnum as anybody that Tom Selleck. The reboot's a joke. Mm-hmm. And then you can't see anybody else as Indiana Jones and Harrison Ford. And I love the characters. Robin Masters. That was the thing you talked about earlier, John, or maybe it was you, Shell. They were talking about, no, it was John. You talked about the twists. The cool thing about Magnum PI is they wrapped up some things for you at the end, with Robin Masters and Higgins and that whole thing.
Spoiler alert.
And you weren't sure, you thought this makes sense, but you weren't sure. And I thought that was a really cool piece of it.
I didn't like that, if I'm being honest. What? I didn't think Higgins was Robin Masters. Like, it just didn't connect to me. I don't know. Maybe, I guess it did in the sense that it's almost like a Remington Steele scenario where he created someone larger than life. It wasn't really him, but Robin Masters was the persona he created. So I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
I love the show. I absolutely love the show. I love the characters. I love TC. I loved Higgins. I love the car. I love the Dobermans. I love the theme song. I love the setting. Like any show in Hawaii, I thought was awesome. I liked Hawaii Five-0. I liked Lost. Every single show ever filmed in Hawaii did well. I even like the Tiki Totem episode story arc of Brady Bunch. Throw something in Hawaii, I'm good with it.
Yeah,
bad things happen there.
The Dobermans were great. I mean, TC was awesome. Then you had Ice Pick. Remember, Ice Pick was the guy, the kind of like the mafia guy on the island. He was like the older guy that they would always meet in the sauna. And he was, organized crime, but he would always help Magnum out with. Actually, he was friends with Rick, so he'd give Rick like a little clue or give him some information so they could help try to solve whatever case they were trying to solve. It's just a well done show, and they actually were going to end it. If you remember, but they were going to end it with Magnum dying.
Yes.
There was an episode where he's up in
Yep.
the heaven or whatever. And then I guess there was conversation, especially with Tom Selleck, where it was like, we can't. Remember, it's the 80s. Like, we can't kill off Magnum.
You can't kill Magnum.
Kill him off. Now they'd have no problem killing him off. But
Yeah.
I think he was hoping that maybe that character could continue into something else at some point too.
And I mean, some of the stories were what you would expect. There's one I remember with him out on a surfboard. He was trying to get back. I mean, there's some really iconic episodes that you were like, all right, this is must see. Television at the time. Here's a weird question, and I guess it's been too long since I've watched Magnum in serial, watching it episode to episode to episode. Aside from guest stars, was there a female presence in the show? Was there? And I don't remember there being, like, every single show had at least one Diane, one Elaine, there was always at least a foil against the main character as a woman. Nothing in Magnum, right?
Can I answer this?
Go ahead.
Can I answer this? Yeah. Okay. I don't know, because I've seen a few episodes of the show because it's iconic, right? But maybe because it didn't have something like that, it was never for me. Like, I did not watch it, and my family didn't watch it, so it wasn't one of those shows that was regularly on in my house. So maybe there wasn't, and that's why it was more marketed for the guys. I don't know.
Well, I mean, Linda nails it. It was a sausage party, but it's so rare. There's a lot of shows that were just for men, presumably, but there was a Heather Thomas thrown into Fall Guy. There was always something there. And Magnum is about the only show that I can't put my finger. There's not.
I think it just, I mean, you had Cagney and Lacey, you know, they were female detectives. So you had female oriented shows, you had male oriented shows, you had ones. I think Tom Selleck was supposed to be the one who drove the women to watch the show. It probably worked. And I think also, like, you know, the guy lives in a mansion, drives a Ferrari, is the best looking guy on the island, more than likely. And you would expect that he would have, like, you know, different women coming out, kind of like a James Bond type of thing. So no, there really wasn't like a lead character, but I want to go back to something Kevin mentioned, because I wanted to mention that as well. And I've heard this a lot, that, you know, you talk to veterans, and between Magnum PI and Rambo, those were a movie and a show that really put a spotlight on PTSD for veterans, specifically Vietnam. When we were fresh out of Vietnam, I mean, it was only a few years that we had really been out of there when Magnum hit in 1980. And then, you know, First Blood comes out in 82, I think. And both of those, you hear veterans talk about how they were so thankful for those shows, because there were flashbacks for Magnum and for TC. They had conversations about PTSD. So I think that was a really important angle as well for the show. Not that me being 11 years old understood that, but looking back now, I can appreciate it.
Didn't understand it then, but it did play into the brotherhood. I mean, you saw these guys, that was the backstory to the fact that they would do anything for each other. You know, that ran through the entire series.
Yeah.
Magnum needed they were there, and that's why.
Yep. Yeah. So
Carol, I'm sorry you didn't get a notification. The only thing I can say is make sure that bell is rung on the front page, and then that should tell you.
Yeah.
You need more cowbell.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I've got to say about Tom Selleck / Magnum PI, the man wore the shortest shorts known to mankind.
He was a hairy
you got to give him credit. Getting in and out of the car, jumping over things, no slips that I've ever seen hit the internet. You know, I think of Scarface's iconic line, "Say hello to my little friend." You thought sooner or later, wearing those shorts, it was gonna happen, and I don't think it did. So kudos to the wardrobe department. They got it right.
Me of the bicycle guy on Friends, you know, where he is, and they're like, "Oh,
put the mouse back."
He kept the mouse in the house.
Yeah, yeah. I thought this was a fun connection, just because Magnum. Just an iconic show, and it really is such an 80s show. And I was really disappointed when they rebooted it. I thought it was stupid. They actually did try to do a Magnum PI movie that just never really panned out. I had heard they were beginning to cast it, and they had LL Cool J as TC. I think there was a couple people they were throwing around to be Magnum. Tom Selleck was going to have a cameo in it. They had actually were trying to talk to Tom Selleck about being the Robin Masters or Higgins person.
That would be cool.
But it never really panned out. I hope it does when these guys are still young enough. I still think LL Cool J, he looks like he's 30. He could still do TC, no problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a fun connection, and it's one of my favorite shows ever. So
it is a fun connection, Chris. Literally, I think someone in the comments said it. Kudos to you. It was a really fun.
Might actually have been my favorite episode of yours, Chris.
Oh, well,
I like the topics and I really like the connection. It's just, it was a very neat, well-tied bow tie, easy to connect all the dots once you tell us, but I never would have gotten there without you telling me. And those are the ones I like, where I'm like, not a chance in hell would I have gotten it, but once you tell me, I love it.
Awesome. Well, I enjoyed it. I love doing this. I love the show. I love all you guys like supporting us. It's awesome. We really want to blow this thing up and make it huge, and we can only do that.
Good amount of people in and out today, I will say that. And if the algorithm is still bringing us new people like Jedediah and Joe, that's happy to have you guys on board. If you are missing an episode, I think it was Kevin or Wirehead or Linda made a good suggestion. Set a phone alarm, 7 p.m. Eastern time every Monday night. You'll never miss us. Have that alarm go off, jump on to YouTube, grab a glass of wine, grab a beer, grab a soda, whatever it is you want, and spend an hour with us.
Unless they're late again, because sometimes we do that.
That was my fault tonight. That won't happen to me again. I don't know.
John was late last week. You were late. And John actually, for those of you who don't, John actually called me. He goes, Shell, are you getting on? I'm like, it's 6:56. I'm just sitting here on my phone, just waiting. He's calling me. I just clicked the button. I'm like, hello. And then we just sat around talking, waiting for you, Chris.
Yeah, I won't make that mistake again. I'll take my Prevagen every Monday now so that my mind works.
What is Central versus Eastern?
I think it's 1 hour.
1 hour.
Is it 2?
Okay, so
1.
7 p.m.
I thought
Eastern
1, yeah.
As Central. 6. So yeah, Linda, it will be 6 p.m. your time. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much. Chris, dude, crushed it. Shell, your insights amaze me. Just perfect. To our virtually live studio audience, it's not the same show without you guys. So thank you for being here. Do you guys want to plug something? And you guys got going on?
I mean, like I said, my books for me, like if you're looking for an inexpensive holiday gift for somebody, Amazon has heavily discounted my newest book, Raised on the 80s. Go get it now before it goes. The retail price is $19.95. I don't have any control over it. They discounted it to $8.95. So if you want to get copies for your friends for Christmas or for whatever,
I think I'm going to buy a bunch and resell them. I'll make like $2 a book.
That would be the time. And you can get them.
All right, guys.
Yeah. Shell.
I got nothing.
All right.
I got nothing. I just got back from Rhode Island. I will be in Greenville, South Carolina, November 21st, 22nd, 23rd for the Federation Toy Retro Toy Con. That's all I got.
Oh, wait, she said, who's up? Doreen asked, who's up next week? Is it me again? Is it back to me? Oh, good, because I got a topic. I got one. All
right, guys. We'll see you all next week. Wait, is it you again, Shell?
Yeah, because remember you had to rush for topics last week.
Yeah, but didn't you just do? No, it is me now.
No, it's John.
It's me.
It John?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did it last week with Ghostbusters.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's me next week, and I'm excited. I've got one. It'll be fun. All right, y'all. See you next week.